everyone. My name is Katie. I am a youth librarian at the Granville branch of Kent District Library, and I want to welcome you tonight to a very special edition of our book talking series for kids ages 5 to 10. Tonight's episode is all about our favorite book series. And me and 11 of my friends from throughout Kent District Library are going to come on and we're going to tell you about our favorite series books, everything from picture books to early readers to graphic novels, and we even have some nonfiction series to tell you about too. And the reason we wanted to do this is because it's almost summer. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. And because it's almost summer, we want you to have lots of great books to read. And so we picked series in particular that have more than one book out already in the series. So if you read one of the books and you love it, you can just keep going, which is such a great feeling. I love when that happens. And the other reason, besides just that it's going to be summer, is that Kent District Library is running our Summer Wonder program again this summer. And the way it works, starting June 1st, you can read, you can try new things, you can write a story, and if you do any combination of those things for 30 days, you get to go to your local Kent District Library branch and get a prize. And kids are really lucky because you get to pick out a free book and you get to keep it forever and ever. And so we're so excited about our Summer Wonder program starting. We're going to have lots of virtual programs this summer. We also have some branches that will be trying some in-person outdoor programs. And we hope that you come to visit us this summer. We hope that you hear about at least one or two books in this video that you want to try. And happy reading. Enjoy the video. Bye.
I'm here to share with you two of my favorite picture book series. The first series I have for you is the Hooray for Hat series, or I like to call it the Hooray series. This is one of my favorite storytime books. It's called Hooray for Hat, and it's by Brian Wan. And I love this story because it has a group of friends who work really hard to cheer up their friend Lion, who's just having a bad day. And you might be able to guess how they cheer up Lion just from the title, but I won't spoil it. I'll let you pick up the book and find out for yourself. And if you like that book, you might want to pick up the sequel, Hooray for Today, where you'll find more of the same characters on a different adventure. The second series I want to share with you is the Amy Wu series by Kat Jung. And I love this series because Amy Wu is just a character who has a lot of courage and she's not afraid to be herself and to try really hard. So the first book in the series is called Amy Wu and the Perfect Bow, where Amy has to learn how to make these kind of dumplings. And there's a lot of trial and error and frustration, but she sticks with it. So you should pick up this book and find out if she can make the perfect bow. And if you like this story, I recommend picking up the second book in this series called Amy Wu and the Patchwork Dragon, where Amy learns that it's kind of okay to be a little different from everybody else around you. Thanks for listening. I hope you pick up some great books this summer. Bye-bye.
I have to tell you about one of my favorite picture book series, which is the Questionnaires series. It is by Andrea Beatty and illustrated by David Roberts. And this series is so cool. What they are doing, Andrea and David, every book is they are picking a different kid in a class. And they are telling you all about what makes that kid special. So in Ada Twist Scientist, we learn all about Ada and her problem-solving skills and her love for science. In Iggy Peck Architect, Iggy loves to build and design, and he ends up having to use his skills to solve a big problem for him and his classmates when they're on a field trip. Other books in this series, there is Sophia Valdez, Future Press, and there is Rosie Revere, Engineer. And I know that there are more books coming, which is even more exciting. So if you like reading about different kids who have a lot of passion for what they do and like exploring and creating, then I think you will really like the questionnaire series. And the other thing I'll tell you is if you have read these picture books and loved them, there also is a beginning chapter book series that is about Rosie Revere and Iggy Peck and Ada Twist and all their friends and their adventures, just in more of a longer chapter book story. I hope you check these out. They're wonderful.
I want to introduce you to two of my favorite early reader series. So, early reader books are great for those like kindergarten, first, or even second grade readers. And the first one I want to share with you is by Jan Thomas, and it's her Giggle Gang series. So, you might have read maybe a Jan Thomas picture book before. These are two of my favorites. They're really, really funny, and you're going to see a lot of those same characters in her early reader series. So these books are awesome. Like I said, they have a really funny storyline. There's a bunch of them in the series available. And they have this wonderful Mo Willems Elephant and Piggy style of dialogue between the characters. And this kind of word bubble style really helps a young reader develop their fluency, which is their ability to emphasize words as they're reading aloud and really give like a dramatic flair. And it all kind of just helps create a really fun reading experience for that young reader. So I encourage you to check out this series by Jan Thomas. And then I also wanted to introduce you to the Jack series. If you haven't read these books before, they're by Mac Barnett and Greg Pizzoli. And Jack is a bunny, and he tries his best to be good, but he's very, very naughty, and he constantly is getting into trouble. In this story, he winds up spending the night at the zoo. Uh, in this story, he's got a very friendly little old lady as his caretaker, and she's very mad at him. He's been very naughty, so she decides to blast him into outer space. And there's lots of other books in this series. I can't recommend it enough. Really funny, full color illustrations, and just really silly storylines. So check out the Jack series as well.
I'm here to share two of my favorite early reader series with you. One of my go-to series is the I Like to Read series of books published by Holiday House. These are great books if you are in kindergarten or first grade and you're just getting the hang of reading on your own, which can be tricky. One of my favorite books in this series is called Hide, and it's by Steve Henry. And this story is about a little fish who encounters a huge shark, and he needs just a little bit of help from an even bigger elephant. I also really like the characters Horse and Buggy in this series. So this is Horse and that's Buggy. This is the newest book in this series. It's called Plant a Seed. But you can also find these characters in Paint It Out and Dance, Dance, Dance. And all three of these books are by Ethan Long. If you really like the Elephant and Piggy books by Mo Willems, you might want to try these. You can read all of the Horse and Buggy adventures together, and I think they're planning on more too. If you want an easy way to find these books in our collection, you can look for I Like to Read right on this spine. There is a whole bunch of them. So you can find way different topics and characters. And what's helpful is that these books do have kind of a little bit of reading guidance, what level they might be. So sometimes grown-ups like that. So I encourage you to check out the I Like to Read series by Holiday House. Another one of my favorite early reader series is the Fox series by Corey Tabor. So this is the first book. It's called Fox the Tiger. And in this first book, Fox really, really, really wants to be a tiger. You can imagine how that goes when you try to be something that you're not. You can read all about Fox and his friends and his explorations and mischief in the rest of the books in the series. So there's Fox versus Winter, Fox is Late, and Fox at Night. So I encourage you to try out those series and get reading this summer.
I really recommend this series for you guys. It's called Mayhem. And this is the first book in the series. Mayhem is a superhero. So Mia is just a normal 8-year-old girl when one day, out of the blue, she discovers that she is actually a superhero. And her parents are too. So she begins to attend an after-school program for in-training superheroes, like with other kids just like her. And it's kind of about her life trying to balance her secret identity along with her day-to-day life at school and then in her after-school superhero program. So you'll see there's lots of illustrations on every page, nice large font for those emerging chapter book readers. And there are at least 10 now in the series. And I know book number 11 is getting published this summer. So please read Mia Mayhem. I think it would appeal to a lot of like first through third grade readers, boys and girls alike. Lots of really fun adventures. I can't recommend this series enough.
Lulu and the Brontosaurus by Judith Viorst. So here we have Lulu, and Lulu is a brat. She always gets her way, and when she sees something that she wants, she throws herself down on the ground, and she cries, and she screams, and she makes awful noise and kicks her feet until she gets what she wants. But one day, Lulu asks her parents for a Brontosaurus, and for the first time, her parents say no. They say, Lulu, sweetie, we love you, but the dinosaurs are all extinct. We cannot get you a Brontosaurus. And no matter how much Lulu cries and screams and kicks her feet, they still won't get her a dinosaur. So Lulu does the only thing she can do. She walks into the woods herself, singing a little song that goes like this. I'm gonna get a Brontosaurus for a pet. And she goes to find her own dinosaur. Now, in the woods, Lulu finds giant snakes. She finds angry bears. She finds tigers. This is a forest filled with a lot of creatures. And then against all odds, who do you think she finds? That's right. Lulu finds a Brontosaurus. But what do you think happens when Lulu tries to make a Brontosaurus into a pet? You're going to have to read the book to find out. And if you like reading about Lulu and her screaming adventures, there's also books where Lulu is a spy. There's books where Lulu has to deal with dogs. There's books where Lulu gets a baby sister. And they are all extremely funny. I think you'll like them.
The books that I want to share with you today are what I call the Mouse books by Torben Coleman. Torben Coleman is a German author illustrator, and his work has been translated into English for us to enjoy too. These are really big books, so I'm going to hold them up individually. They are Lindbergh, Armstrong, and Edison. And what these three books have in common is each one of them takes an iconic moment of discovery in human history and reimagines them through the eyes of these curious and adorable little mice. Armstrong and Lindbergh are both somewhere between like a long picture book and a short chapter book, whereas Edison is actually a true chapter book. But all of them are incredibly beautifully illustrated. I honestly don't know how many books I've seen like this that are so long and so fully illustrated. They're absolutely gorgeous. They make really good read-alouds if you do family read-alouds on the couch. I also often recommend them to families who tend to read more classic children's literature. So if your kids have read and enjoyed books like The Chronicles of Narnia or Winnie the Pooh, these are definitely going to be a huge hit. They have the same timeless feel and also the same like exquisitely detailed text and illustrations that a lot of fans of more classic older children's literature tend to enjoy. They also have a little nonfiction section in the back. So if you read the book and you want to learn a little bit more about the invention behind the book, you can learn about that when you're done. I hope you guys enjoy these.
Layla and the Bots, Happy Paws by Vicky Fang. So this right here is Layla and her 3 robot friends, Beep, Boop, and Bop. Layla is an inventor and she's also a rock star. She's basically amazing in every way. And Layla and her robot friends like to use their powers of invention to help out the other people who live in their town. And so when the owner of the Happy Days amusement park says that no one has been coming to visit the park, Layla knows that it is up to her and her robots to figure out how to fix this problem. Now, I can't tell you exactly what she does because that would spoil the story, but I will tell you it involves puppy dogs. It involves a giant ball pit. It involves a water park slide, but it's made of mud instead of water. And you might be wondering how Layla can save a park with these sorts of things. But you'll have to read the book to find out. Oh, I almost forgot. My favorite part about the Layla books is that at the end, they give you instructions on how to make something that they talked about in the book. So in Layla and the Bots, Happy Paws, you learn how to build your own roller coaster. It's super cool.
I want to introduce you to a beginning chapter book series called the Mr. Shivers series. And this is by Max Brallier. So maybe you have a kiddo who feels like they're really ready for like a Goosebumps book or like kind of a scary book. And maybe you just feel like they're not quite ready for that level of scariness. This Mr. Shivers series is totally for you. It's got full color illustrations. It's really aimed at those, beginning readers, maybe first or second graders. And each chapter in these stories is its own scary story. So these are perfect for reading around a campfire in the summertime. I know for me, summer is a great time to read some scary stories. So I hope you check these out. It's the Mr. Shivers series, and I highly recommend.
The Major Eights, Battle of the Bands by Melody Reed. So Jasmine and her friends are in the best band of 8-year-olds to ever exist. The band itself isn't really the greatest band. Like, they don't have a microphone, so Scarlett just has to sing into a hairbrush. And the keyboard that Jasmine plays only has 7 keys that work. And Melody doesn't really know how to play the drums. And sometimes Becca has trouble making the guitar make the notes that she needs it to make. But anyway, they have a lot of fun and they write their own songs, and it's awesome. But then Jasmine sort of ruins everything. She finds out that there's going to be a giant Battle of the Bands competition, and she enters their band into the competition without checking with everybody else first to see if that was okay. And now they have to worry about singing well. They have to worry about what they're going to dress like. They have to worry about competing with all of these other groups. And all of a sudden, band practice isn't fun anymore. It's a lot of stress and work. Jasmine didn't want to ruin her friend's band. She just wanted to prove that they were a real group. And if you want to find out what happens, you're going to have to read the book. Oh, I almost forgot my favorite part about this story. It's not really important, but I loved it. The cover has glitter on it. Anyway, The Major Eights, Battle of the Bands by Melody Reed.
I wanted to recommend the book series Recipe for Adventure by Giada De Laurentiis. This is a beginning chapter book series. If you like Magic Tree House, where you're traveling to different places, this might be the series for you. This is about a brother and sister whose aunt comes to visit from Italy. She cooks them something delicious, and when they bite into it, they're transported to Naples. They find themselves on an adventure helping a young boy gather ingredients for a cooking competition. So they learn about cooking, they learn about fresh ingredients, and they have some adventures along the way.
There are 8 books in this series, and they travel to different places. They go to Rio de Janeiro and to Paris and many other places. This is a beginning chapter book series. It does have some illustrations sprinkled throughout, but if you are transported by food and are ready for an adventure, this will be the series for you.
They Didn't Teach This in Worm School by Simone Leah. So this book is about Marcus. Here's Marcus. Marcus is a worm. His favorite color is brown. His favorite things are other worms. His favorite hobby is like digging holes in the ground. He lives a pretty good life for a worm. But one day, his regular life is turned upside down because Marcus meets Lawrence. This is Lawrence. Lawrence is a chicken who thinks that he's a flamingo. And when Marcus meets Lawrence, it's because Lawrence is trying to eat Marcus. Because that's what birds do to worms, right? And poor Marcus, trying to save himself, strikes up a conversation with Lawrence, asks him his name, asks him his hobbies, just chats with him a little bit. And before poor Marcus knows what's happening, he has somehow agreed to help Lawrence fly to Kenya to meet up with a group of flamingos so that Lawrence can join their flock. So yeah, this book is very silly in case you haven't noticed. So off goes poor Marcus the worm, sitting on the back of Lawrence the chicken who thinks he's a flamingo, flying hundreds of feet up in the air, trying to get to Kenya. Will they make it? You will have to read the book to find out. This book, by the way, has absolutely everything. It has, what does it have here? It has chickens going on vacation. It has beach boxing squirrels. It has, oh, my favorite. It has tiny little worms wearing tiny little worm hats. Look at them. There they are. What else could you ask for, right? Let's be honest. So if you like this one, you can also try the sequel, The Secret Time Machine and the Gherkin Switcheroo. This one is They Didn't Teach This in Worm School by Simone Leah.
Aldwin is an ordinary cat. He is being chased and he ducks into a magical pet shop. You see in The Familiars by Adam J. Epstein and Andrew Jacobson, there are magical pets who become familiars to wizards and witches. When kids turn 11, they get to go pick out their familiar who will be their partner as they travel through the magical world. Aldwin is not magical. He's hiding in the pet shop when Jack walks in on his 11th birthday to pick out his familiar who will travel with him through life. Who do you think he picks? Aldwin. Is Aldwin magical? Can he fake it? Check out this book with Aldwin and his friends, the Blue Jay, the Tree Frog, and Jack, as they form friendships in this magical adventure story. If you like Harry Potter or aren't quite ready for Harry Potter, this is the magical adventure for you. You're going to love The Familiars. This is the first in the series. Check it out. It will keep you busy this summer.
Magic Misfits. This book is about a group of kids who do magic together to solve a mystery. Carter is who this first book in this series is about. And Carter, his parents were magicians, but they magically disappeared one day. So he's living with his uncle, who's a really bad guy, and he uses magic to steal from people. So Carter runs away and meets this group of friends who use magic for good to help other people. And he meets another magician who's really bad. And so they work together to solve a mystery and stop the evil magician. This book is super fun. If you've ever read Lemony Snicket, A Series of Unfortunate Events, this book is kind of like that. It's super fun. It's got action, adventure, and magic. And Neil Patrick Harris, who wrote it, actually teaches you how to do magic tricks right in the book. So you'll learn 4 different magic tricks just in this one book. And as you go through the series, he teaches you more and more. So this first one's about Carter and the next one's about Layla. So if you are looking for a fun magical mystery, this is a great series for your summer.
Have you ever wanted to climb into a painting or a picture, maybe even a page of a magazine? Check out the Books of Elsewhere. This is the first book in the series, The Shadows by Jacqueline West, where we meet Olive. Olive and her mom and dad have just moved to a new, sort of creepy haunted house. Is it haunted? It's certainly creepy. Olive is studying all the pictures and paintings on the wall of their new, dark and creepy house when she notices that they're all permanently attached to the walls. They can't come off. This seems weird. Olive is studying them and looking at them when one day she finds a pair of glasses in the house. And when she puts on the glasses and looks into the paintings, everything changes. Would you like to climb into a painting and see what's going on inside one? Is it adventure? Is it terrifying? Are there people inside there? Check out the Books of Elsewhere, the first of a series by Jacqueline West. There's many that you can read this summer.
I'm so sorry, my friends, because I have all the other books in this series, but I don't have the first one. So I drew a picture of it instead. Today, we're going to be talking about Hoeness and Me by Dan Gutman. Now, the main character in this book, Joe Stashak, who we call Stash, he loves baseball. He's obsessed with baseball. He knows everything about players, about statistics, about history. He even collects baseball cards. He's not actually great at playing baseball, but that's a tiny detail. Anyway, one day while he's cleaning out a neighbor's attic, he stumbles upon a T206 Honus Wagner baseball card, which might not sound like much to you or me, but Stash knows that this baseball card is the rarest baseball card in the world. Almost none of them exist anymore. And even one that's like all ripped and torn up is worth $1 million. But that's not the wildest thing, because while Stash is holding this baseball card, staring at it, amazed, he travels through time. He travels back into time to the same time that that baseball card was made, 1909, right when Honus Wagner was playing for the Pittsburgh Pirates in the World Series. Now, I'm not really a fan of baseball. I don't know anything about sports, but I love all of these books. They are funny, they are magical. You get to learn about historical people like Satchel Paige. And anyway, if you like them, there's 11 or 12 in the series, so it'll keep you busy for a long time.
By Angie Sage is book 1 in the Septimus Heap series. Septimus Heap is the 7th son of a 7th son, making him apt to be extra magical. Sadly, the night he was born, the midwife kidnapped him and told his parents he had died. The same night, his father finds an abandoned baby girl in the snow and brings her home to raise alongside his 6 sons. Eventually, you find out who the baby girl really is and what really happened to Septimus Heap. This story takes place in a world full of magic, witches, wizards, dragons, talking rats, curses, charms, spells, and is just captivating. If you can listen to it as an audiobook, you will enjoy it all the more. Both my daughters loved it, and my oldest daughter, who's now 23, has reread it many times since she first found it. There are 7 books in the series, as well as 3 in the Todd Hunter Moon series, which takes place in the same universe. You can find Magic at KDL as a book, an ebook, an e-audiobook, a playaway, or a book on CD.
What would you do if your crotchety landlord decided that your family was simply too much trouble to have around and he was going to evict you? And that meant leaving your beloved Harlem brownstone in your beloved neighborhood. That's the situation faced by the 5 Vanderbeeker kids in The Vanderbeekers of 141st Street by Karina Yan Glazer. They don't give up. The 5 of them decide to band together and convince Mr. Biederman, their recluse of a landlord, that he needs to change his mind. And they have some pretty crazy ideas about just what it'll take to change his mind. I'm not going to tell you what happens. You'll have to read to find out. But I guarantee you, you are going to love this family and you're going to want to move into their neighborhood. And if you do love them, there are already 3 more books in the series and another one coming out this September. So give it a try.
Hello, this is the first book in the Tristan Strong series. Tristan Strong Punches a Hole in the Sky by Kwame Mumbale. The Tristan Strong series is about different Black American folk characters. This book in particular is the first in this series where Tristan couldn't save his friend. And Tristan is sent to Alabama for a month to recover and stay with his grandparents. During his time there, within the first night, he meets Gum Baby, a Black folk character that comes crashing into his life, most literally. She might be small, but she's feisty. As he follows her, he's thrown into a new world of chaos and must become brave and live up to the last name Strong. Tristan Strong is a great book because you learn about Black folk stories that you might not have heard before, and you fall in love with their amazing characters. I hope you give this book a try. Happy reading.
Detectives by Michael Buckley is book 1 in the Sisters Grimm series. After Sabrina and Daphne Grimm's parents mysteriously disappear, they are sent to live with their grandmother in Fairyport Landing, a grandmother they believed was dead. Things there seem very strange, and the girls attempt to run away in the middle of the night. They're attacked by a swarm of fireflies that bite them. Granny tells them, those are no fireflies, those are pixies. You're descended from the famous Grimm family who wrote the fairy tales. The fairy tales are real. The Ever Afters, which is what the fairy folk are called, live in Fairyport Landing, and the Grimm family has a sacred duty to remain in the town to prevent the Ever Afters from leaving. The girls soon get involved with their grandmother in a case of a house that was crushed by what seems to be a giant foot. This is a series of 9 books full of mystery, adventure, magic, and suspense. My younger daughter, who's now 18, loved this series. She probably listened to the audiobook at least half a dozen times over the years. You can get this book from KDL as a book, an ebook, an e-audiobook, or a book on CD. The Fairy Tale Detectives by Michael Buckley.
Because of Mr. Tearup by Rob Bouyer. This is a school story about Mr. Tearup's first year teaching 5th grade. It's told by his students. So each chapter is told by a different student in his classroom. And there are 7 storytellers in all. So you get to follow their class through one whole school year. And you get kind of different perspectives of the things they're doing in their classroom because every student has their own personality. I wish I had been in this classroom when I was in 5th grade. Mr. Tearup has some great ideas. He's very excited to be teaching. He does a collaboration with a self-contained special ed classroom. So his students get to go and be a buddy to some students they might not normally interact with during the school day. So the school year is going great, except right in the middle, there's an accident. And things change, and the students have to come together for Mr. Tearup. I couldn't put this book down. There are 4 books in the series. This is the first one. If you love a good school story, this is the one for you.
This is The Princess Academy by Shannon Hale, and it's the first book in a trilogy called The Princess Academy. And it's about a young girl named Miri, and she lives in a tiny village on top of Mount Eskel. And the villagers of Mount Eskel have an important job. They mine the mountain for a beautiful white stone named Linder, which is used to build places like the king's palace, so it's in high demand. But Miri herself is too small. She can't really help in the mines, so she's feeling kind of left out, and she doesn't know what she's going to do with her life. Then messengers from the king arrive, and they tell the villagers that it's been determined that the prince's future bride will be one of the girls from this village on Mount Eskel. So Miri and the other girls her age are all of a sudden traveling down the mountain to be enrolled in this special temporary princess academy school so that they can learn how to be a princess and live life in a palace should the prince decide to choose one of them for his bride. So Miri's wondering, does she have what it takes to be a princess? And does she even want to be a princess?
I am so excited to tell you about the Investigator series by John Patrick Green. The Investigator series is about Mango and Brash, and they are alligators who also are detectives. And in this book, they go undercover as chefs because the head baker and chef at this bakery has disappeared. And then lots of other strange things happen. Mango and Brash bake a giant birthday cake, and it gets delivered to a factory, and then lots of mysterious things happen at that factory. So you have to check out this book to find out how Mango and Brash solve the mystery. And you get to see all of their cool gadgets. They wear these vests that all of their cool gadgets pop out of that they use to solve their cases. And these books are also very silly. They are full of puns and jokes. There is a doctor who turns into a helicopter, kind of like a werewolf, except he turns into a helicopter. Why? I don't know, but it's very silly and very funny. There are 3 books out in this series so far, and the 4th book comes out in September. They are great fun, lots of great graphic novel comic details. You can find videos online where John Patrick Green teaches you how to draw the investigators, which is also really great. So check these out, the Investigators series by John Patrick Green.
This series is called Cleopatra in Space. It's by Mike Mayhack, and the first book is called Target Practice. And in it, Cleopatra and her friend Gozi stumble across a hidden cave filled with many treasures, including a mysterious glowing tablet. And when Cleopatra touches the tablet, she gets transported forward many, many, many years in time, and she ends up on an entirely different planet. And there's a cat talking to her and telling her that she is destined to be the savior of the galaxy. It's a lot to take in, but Cleopatra is up to the task. And throughout the series, it's up to Cleopatra and her new friends to defeat an ancient, scary enemy.
I want to introduce you guys to Olive. Olive is the main character in the Click series of graphic novels, which are written and illustrated by Kayla Miller. And Olive is a student kind of like you. And she works through different things in each book in this series, which is kind of fun. So the very first book in the series is called Click. And what happens is Olive has a ton of friends at school. She kind of gets along with everyone. And they're getting ready for the school talent show. And all of Olive's friends have kind of teamed up. They've got plans, and no one has invited Olive to join them. And so she feels a little bit left out. And so part of the book is about Olive trying to find her own talent and how to cope with the fact that her classmates have kind of forgotten about her. And you have to read the book to find out what Olive's talent is. The second book is called Camp. I don't have a copy here right now, but Camp is about Olive and her best friend going to summer camp. And while Olive starts making a lot of new friends, her best friend only wants to hang out with Olive. She doesn't want to hang out with all these other kids. And so Olive and her friend have to figure out how to balance time together and also meeting new people. Olive also gets to learn how to be in a rock band, which is really cool. The third book is called Act, and Olive is running for class president. And part of why she wants to do that is she has some changes that would make school more equal for everyone. And she wants to work towards making it possible for everyone to be able to go on field trips and everyone to get to try different things. And the fourth book, I can tell you, comes out this summer and it's called Clash. And so this is a wonderful realistic fiction graphic novel series. I love these books so much, and I hope that you try them out.
Hi, my friends. I'm here to talk to you about a nonfiction series that you will love. So if you're curious about bears or hippos or crocodiles, this is a great series to check out. Maxwell Eaton III does a great job with illustrating some really fun facts about some of your favorite animals, and he makes it fun. You will laugh out loud, LOL. All right, so this one is about bears. So fun facts about bears, they have really big claws. I didn't know they were that big. That is the actual size of a bear claw. And he does a really good job in just like going through the fun facts about what they eat, like rodents and fish. And then he talks about safety, bear safety, which is really important. But what he does in each one of his books that I think is really fabulous is that he talks about if they're endangered and how we can learn to help the population of bears. And same with the hippos. So he has different series that he talks about. There's crocodiles, there's butterflies, there's even dolphins. So if you are an animal lover and you want to learn a lot more about these wonderful, fun, favorite animals of yours, check out this series. It's a nonfiction series by Maxwell Eaton III, The Truth About.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight to hear about some of our most favorite series books. I hope you heard at least about a couple books that you are excited to try out. I want to remind you again that Kent District Library's Summer Wonder program starts on June 1st. In the summer, you can visit your local Kent District Library branch to pick up a reading and activity log. You can read, listen to audiobooks, write a story, try new things for 30 days. And then when you come and visit us again, you can pick up a free book, but only if you're a kid. Your adult gets a different prize. I'm sorry, adults. So I hope that you visit us this summer. Stop by. We're happy to recommend books. We're happy to help you find these books. We also have a lot of virtual programs going on and other cool activities at branches too. So make sure you visit kdl.org to learn about our Summer Wonder program, to learn about our virtual programs, and I hope we see you soon. Happy reading. Have a wonderful summer. Bye.